Hey, what's up, folks? Today we're going to be talking about chickens, how we're going to feed them and all that, because the main focus for the past few months has been the pigs, and they're gone. And my next goal here in this backyard is to produce all the food my chickens need. And so right now I've got 7 hens that will need to be fed, and I really don't want to buy them any more food. So it's funny, lately these chickens have been really quiet, and that is because the entire pig carcass went into this chicken house. And you can see all those lumps and stuff over there where that chicken's scratching. That's actually a pig head, and there are a few flies still buzzing around trying to get at it, but chickens are eating pork, raw pork, which is fine for them to eat. And then what they can't actually acquire themselves, the flies are coming in and laying larvae in there, and the maggots are also food for the chickens. And so the maggots are breaking things down that the chickens can't and turning into fat little maggots full of protein for my chickens. So they are eating really well right now, and they've been super quiet. And I joined those 4 chickens over there, and then my 3 here, they were recently joined, and they were fighting a lot, but they decided to get along. Now there's all this food, and it's just kind of funny. You give them all this food and they get fat, like, oh man, that's a fat crop. You can feel how full the crop of a chicken is just by feeling it, and just touching it. It's right here, and you'll feel a bulge. And these girls are full, so that is really good. Good job, ladies. All right, so we've got that brown hen right there. She's scratching for maggots, probably more than likely, trying to get up under that carcass. I'm sure they've cleared off every maggot on top, and so she's just getting underneath that pig head right there and getting some maggots, and that's really awesome protein. So one thing I don't want to get stuck doing is like growing food, especially like something like corn or soybeans or whatever, having to harvest it and bringing it to the chicken house. The ultimate goal is to get them out of the chicken house and get them on the ground, because the only way I'm going to be able to provide enough food for them is if I really start ripping on my soil. And the only way my soil is going to get fertile enough to produce enough food is to get these chickens on the ground, adding that fertility. And so I'm starting to turn the cycle here, and I just want to get the cycle to get bigger and bigger and faster until it's just really pumping and producing a ton of food for these chickens. So I'm not gonna just make up my own stuff. There's a lot of people who are experts on things like soil health, and one of those people is Gabe Brown. He has 5 principles of soil health, and the first big one is keeping the ground covered. You want a thatch or something covering the ground. Anywhere that you have bare soil is an unproductive piece of ground. So in my yard there's plenty of little spots where you can actually see white sand poking through. You know, I've tried to get this covered, and it's just so bare, and there's just so little vegetation that everything just gets blown away and it dries out very quickly. Like it rained, what, 2 days ago, and man, this is all just crumbly and dry. No good. The second principle is to keep a living root in the ground at all times, and clearly I have a lot of bare area in my backyard that don't have plants on them, and so the principle is just keep a living plant on every area of your ground. And so like a lawn is better than nothing, and there's some areas where I do have a lawn, but that brings us into the next principle, and that is diversity. And from what I read, you want at least 7 species of plants in any given area, and so you don't want just flat out monocrops or anything like that. You want a diversity. And so where I do have plants, I'm doing a really good job with that, but again, there's a lot of space where there's just not much going on. So I need to start putting that into cultivation. And the next principle is to keep is to incorporate animals into your production model. And actually the whole model is really exists to sustain these hens. And so what I'm going to do here is I actually have to get these chickens out of their coop and onto the ground. And I'm going to do that with this chicken tractor you've seen before, and I built it a while ago. But it's I think it's a 4x8 chicken tractor, and it'll fit between those rows pretty easily. And so I got to get these chickens on the ground, and that goes into our next principle. The final principle is rest. You have to keep an area free from disturbance for some amount of time. Every area has to have rest. And so we're trying to limit disturbance so that an area just doesn't get completely depleted. Plants need somewhat of a foundation to come back from. Uh-oh, chickens are getting noisy in there. But if I have too much disturbance on an area, those plants will become too weak to really rebound. So I want to have animals in an area for just a short amount of time, get what they need, move on to the next spot. And so I'm limiting disturbance on a given area by regularly and consistently moving them onto another area. So ideally, this whole chicken house will actually become totally obsolete. Maybe I'll use it as a brooder, or if I get a hen sitting on eggs or something like that, those birds can be raised in there. But I want to have chickens in here on the ground as often as possible and moving around the whole backyard, the entirety of it. And that's going to be especially important on these bare spots because a lot of it's just really compact. The chickens help to break that up a little bit. They do a lot of scratching and digging and dust bathing and all these things. And that disturbance actually stimulates weed growth, which in this case is actually not bad because in soil like this, I can't just plant something in there and expect it to grow. Really, I need the wild weeds that are here and around my yard to grow there because they're really the only thing that will grow. Most of our cultivated plants just won't grow. They need something to grow in, but this over here is almost straight sand. And so our native weeds are going to be the first species to be able to grow on those areas. And as the soil is improved, then maybe I can grow more productive plants. But the fact of the matter is there's a lot of weeds that these chickens really love to eat. So weeds are actually my friend, not my enemy. If you don't know who Gabe Brown is, you can just Google him. He's an amazing farmer. Oh, motorcycle's coming back. Anyway, he's incredible. He's an inspiration, and I want to emulate his success in my own backyard as I'm able to. And he came up with these 5 principles that we just went over, and this is what turned his farm from basically a complete failure into a very, very profitable farm that he's able to actually hand down to his son, which is just amazing, an amazing thing to be able to do. And so I want to learn these skills, learn these things, see them work in my own backyard, just in case I ever have an opportunity to grow be a producer on a larger piece of ground. But I'm quite happy just doing this in my backyard for now. And if land comes along, great. If not, I'll have my hens and maybe some more pigs at some point or whatever. I'm going to be pushing the limits of my own backyard and seeing what can be done here. As you know, I'm a big fan of just doing what I have with what I've got. Doing what I can with what I've got. And so that's what I'm doing here. And I've got this backyard right here in front of me. God's blessed me with it, and I'll take it. I'm not going to complain and be like, no, I want more. But I'm going to be faithful with what I have. And I've heard that's a good way to get more stuff, is just be happy with what you got. So obviously doesn't mean I'm not going to look for opportunity to take advantage of, but Just going to faithfully use this, and I'm really excited to see what the soil looks like in a year, because none of any of this is possible without healthy soil and nutrition in the soil and organisms functioning in the soil. So that's what we're aiming for, is soil health and laying that solid foundation for lots and lots of life. So I hope you guys have a great day and follow along in the journey, because a year from now I'm expecting this backyard to be absolutely abundant and totally different, and I'm expecting to be completely off of store-bought feed. I'm excited about it.